So there are many ways to throw a knife. I'm gonna show you how I like to throw. So the way I hold the knife is completely dependent on how far away I'm standing. So if you're standing real close, it might only need to rotate 1/2 of a rotation. So you might see people throwing knives from the blade. If I'm really close, I'm gonna throw it from the blade because I only need 1/2 a rotation in. If I get a little bit further back, then I'm gonna hold it from the handle, and I'll get into grip a little bit more and show you how I actually hold it in a little bit. When I'm just starting out throwing, and if nobody's ever thrown a knife before, and I even do this when I'm starting out with a new knife, I start real close and I just start with 1/2 a rotation. So I'll start holding from the blade and I'll throw, get it to stick a few times. You gotta be careful because you're real close, and if the knife bounces off, you don't have much time to dodge the knife, get out of the way. But I start off real slow, try to get 1/2 a rotation in, get that a couple times, then I move to the handle and I'm looking for a full rotation. I take a few steps back. Once I get comfortable with that, I move further and further back until, you know, the farthest I usually go is just two rotations, and that's pretty difficult for me because I'm not a professional knife thrower by any means. So if I'm throwing from the blade, I hold it like this with the blade out. Obviously I don't want the blade up against my hand, because that could cut me very easily. So I hold it like so with the blade out and just hold it flat on my fingers and hold my thumb like that. If I'm holding it by the handle, I hold it with my thumb on the back of the knife and I throw it to try to get it so the knife is spinning through the air blade first. A lot of this is just down to preference. Really, you just have to find what works for you. What works for me might not work for you. So I hold it like that when I'm throwing it throwing it from the handle. You might find holding it flat works for you. You just got to experiment with your grip and also your distance, and you just got to experiment, trial and error, and eventually you'll get it. All right, so when you're throwing a knife, the most important thing is consistency. You're trying to remove variables that change in between each throw. So what I've done is I found some ranges that work for me for different rotations. So I know for one rotation, I need to stand about 5 steps away. So what I've done is I have laid a little piece of wood here on the ground for one rotation, and then further back, I laid another piece of wood for 2 rotations. So you just need to figure out what ranges work for you, and if you can have a visual marker or actually lay something on the ground to help you remember where you were standing when you got that throw to stick, then that really works, and that's what I do. When you're actually throwing the knife, you can't just stand still and throw it. I like to kind of lean into it. As you see, as I'm throwing, I kind of lean into it and let go with the knife. You got to put a little bit of power behind it. It's kind of scary because the knife can bounce back. But when you're throwing, you got to put a little bit of power behind it. Otherwise, the knife isn't going to stick when it hits the wood. It's just going to bounce off. So it's kind of one of those things. For it to work, you kind of have to just jump in and just trust that it's going to stick, and hope you're fast enough to get out of the way if the knife bounces. We'll try it. We'll try to get 2 full rotations in, but I don't have a whole lot of faith in this because, as I said, I'm not that great at this. So we'll see. We'll see how many tries this takes to get a double rotation in. Oh. And the answer is 5. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that, click subscribe. If you're looking for a good throwing knife to get started with, we sell these on our website, and I will put a link to that down in the description. If you want to see how I built this little makeshift target, then click here. If you want to see how to throw a tomahawk, then click here.